Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today on Beautiful Literature with me, Chamatha. I am so happy that you could be here, and I never take it for granted that you found time even to check on what it is we are doing here. I want to just remind us that if you're new here, this is not our first video. We've done other videos still on the Fathers of Nations, and we have come a long way. We have dealt with the plot analysis, chapter per chapter up to the 14th chapter. We've looked at the themes. We have also looked 3 parts of the themes. We have also looked at the 3 parts of the styles, and kindly have a look at them. And finally, we are on characterization, character and characterization. We wanted to just look at these characters, these that have shaped and formed this text, this wonderful text. Who are they? How do you describe them? And I would want us to begin from there with us, and hoping that you can be able to follow, and that you have interacted with them and have you liked them. Who is your favorite character? Who is this character that you think, if you had to be given a role to play, for example, maybe it's a skit or a play that being enacted, which character would you really want to perform? Who is interesting for you? And I'm hoping that if you're asked to describe the person, you're able to do that. And so as we talk about character and characterization, it's important for us to just mention a few things. And that number one, that a character is that person that the writer uses or will bring to us so that he's able to communicate his points. He uses actually that person for us to get his message. Remember, the author always has this theme, the message that you'd want to communicate to the readers. And how does he communicate that message? He will go out of his way to communicate, to form this fictional character, so that out of that he's able to communicate his thoughts, his ideas using that character. And so characterization, on the other hand, is a process that the author reveals of the personality of the character. For example, we are having a character by Dr. Afolabi, and then what kind of a person is he? What is he? What is his person? What are his traits? What are his qualities? Now, that is what we call characterization. And so in this video, we are going to look at those characters, and we're also going to look at their characterization. What kind of people are they? And so one of the ways that probably I find students struggling with when it comes to character and characterization is coming up with the adjectives that are used to describe the character. We know what we want to say, but the problem is, which word do we use to describe that? And I know it's a struggle, and unfortunately the only one way of dealing with that is going out of your way to come up with a list of those words. I've dropped quite a bit on the comment section. Please have a look at those words that are put there. They probably can help jog your mind, because sometimes you really would want to communicate something, like, for example, you'd want to say Dr. Afolabi is this and this, but in your mind you're not able to get the adjective that you'd want to use to describe that. So it's a challenge. And other times, even the words that we use do not qualify. They do not qualify to be adjectives, because to describe the character and to give the characterization, because they're not adjectives. Remember, when you talk about adjectives, they are the words that modify the noun. They are the words that describe the noun. And we will look at that. We'll give you a list of them in the comment section. Just have a look at them and probably just copy them. And so that when you're discussing about character and characterization, at least you have a variety with you. Now, how do you end up knowing the author? How does the author bring to us the character that we are talking about? Number one, we are able to know that by what the character shows us. Does the behavior of the character. What he does is we are able to know, by the way, this person, we can say they are this and this because of how they are behaving. Number two, you can also get to know the character by looking at what you have been told about that character. Maybe the author has told you something about this character, or the other characters have said something about this character, and so you are able to say that so and so is kind, not because you have seen actions of kindness, but because you have had the other characters are saying about this character. and so on. And so you even maybe the way they dress, the way they walk around, the way they treat other people, and that way, out of that, you're able to describe a character and so on. So I'm hoping that we are able to, when you look at those characters, you're able to, at the back of your mind, you're able to tell that this character is this way, and you support why. Because it's not just about saying this character is kind. Why are you saying they're kind? And I just want to remind you something I told you when you're dealing with the excerpts in paper 2, that when you're asked to describe the character trait of a certain character, for example, in that excerpt, you're told to discuss, discuss 2 character traits of Dr. Afolabi. It is so wrong for you to just say, number 1, he's temperamental, or he's hardworking, or he's wise or intelligent, and you leave it at that. You must go ahead and explain, why do you think he's intelligent? Give an explanation, give a description as to why he's intelligent, he's temperamental, he's kind, all that. You never leave an answer with one single word. When you do that, you'll not even get a single mark, because we say that is guesswork. Anybody can say anything. You need to show us and prove to us that actually I even understand the meaning of this word intelligent. I actually am able to pick that intelligence from the text. I so encourage you to go out of your way and write, and go out of your way and just describe things and so on. So let me go straight into the first character. And the first character I want us to deal with is Dr. Afolabi. Remember, there are so many characters in this book. I hope I don't have to go through the characters for you, that you're able to, just looking at the text, you're able to see all of them. And just maybe I hope that even after with the listing of those characters, you know some of them are major characters, others are minor. And in the interest of time, I may not be able to go through all of them. Actually, I may just pick a few. Even after picking the few, I may not be able to exhaust them, like go through every characterization, every trait that describes them, because we can do this all day. I want to hope that with the help of your teacher, you're able to come up with more of, because whatever I'm giving is just a guide. And so I will just highlight on the few characters, and also highlight few character traits of them, and then expect that at your own time, in your own discussion groups, you'll be able to come up with more. The first character I would want us to look at is Dr. Abiola Afolabi. Abiola Afolabi, that is one of the main characters that we have, and he is key in the sense that he's the one who holds quite a number of these discussions together. Quite a bit of things are revolving around him, and I want us to just as we talk about who is he as a person, that we are told he's a lecturer at the University of Ibadan, and he's also an author. He's authored a book, Failure of States, and he's also recently been hired or been asked by the heads of state to be present in the meeting, the summit at in Bajur, and be able to advise the heads of state concerning Way Omega. In this summit they have actually want his input and so on. And so that is, he's also a husband to Pamela, but of course now at this moment we know that he's divorced, and he does not have children and so on. And so let's go straight into looking at the character traits very quickly. That number one of the things that comes out of Dr. Afolabi is that he's intelligent. I mean, for him to be a lecturer, to be a lecturer at the university and graduate and so on, and also to have written a book and so on. If you look at his discussions, even on technical issues like leadership and governance and failure of those leadership engagements of the African state, I think that is someone who is intelligent. So number one, we can say that he's intelligent. Number two thing I would want us to look at is how he's able to handle his emotions. And we realize that Dr. Afolabi is emotional. He's temperamental. I see students saying he's short-tempered. Someone saying he's describing someone who gets angry quickly. He's short-tempered, he's hot-tempered, he's angry and all that. Those are not the right words to use. There's someone is is temperamental, and Dr. Falabi is a temperamental one. It's starting from the conversations as the guide. You realize he's getting very upset with Pastor Chiomaka, and he's questioning and so on, and he's not happy about it. And at some point he tells, he really puts Pastor Chiomaka in his place. Of course, the conversation with Fiona, we realize that he's also he gets angry very quickly and so on. So as we look at Dr. Falabi, we realize that he's one person who his tempers can flare very easily. And of course, even when you look at his incidents with Fiona Mackenzie, when she was being attacked by Leo, we realize that he's not able to handle quite a bit of his emotions once in a while. And so on. That's another character trait. The other thing we can talk about is how brave he is and how daring he is, even with the rescue that he had with Fiona. Remember, Fiona was not a friend at this moment. He's a girl who is just upsetting him, but he decided to help her, and that brings a character of him being a very concerned person, being a caring person, and being brave and daring, because you see this guy was not an easy one to deal with, as even a stranger, and he could have even been hurt, but he was more concerned about the well-being of Fiona than even his own security. And so we can say he's concerned, he's caring and all that, and talk about him being a brave one, and we applaud him for that. And we're also going to look at him being secretive, because Dr. Falabi holds very many secrets, and starting from the conversation they had with Tad Longway in the plane, and he does not divert that information. He is able to just keep to the way Omega without mentioning that there's Path Alpha. Remember, even his recruiting of his discussions and guiding the observers and the 4 travelers, he's able to just keep it that way until the last moment when he needs to get exposed. And even in his discussions with Fiona, you realize he's a secretive person. He does not find himself, the tongue is slipping and saying something that he was not supposed to say. He is a very secretive person, and is able to deal with his issues in a way that doesn't expose unnecessarily. Let's also talk about his being empathetic and being considerate, and especially when it comes to Pamela. He has a very soft spot for Pamela, and you remember even when it came to Pamela's father, he's concerned that he doesn't want to go messing Pamela and telling him, when I went to the convenience store, guess who I met? It's your father, all looking like who did you what. I mean, he's concerned that I don't want to bring that to my wife because it will upset her for no reason. That's a very empathetic person. That's a considerate person. And you can see even him, he's able to see that there is no need of even upsetting everyone. Even when they go back to Nigeria and there's this incident with his family, and they brought in this girl that he should marry, you also see that part of him, that he, even when Pamela says you must throw these people out, he says, I can't. This is family. I can't throw them out. We have to wait until tomorrow for them to leave. That's a quite considerate person. It's someone who is empathetic. It's someone who is loving and caring, that even after upsetting me so much by bringing me a girl, I will still give you a place to sleep. And that is really a very understanding person, and so on. So I want us to just mention those few things, and also his caring nature, even his love for children. You remember when he was seeing the children on the roadside and wishing that he had children. It's only that Pamela did not allow it. And that also gives us a view of who he really is. Like we are talking about his relationship with Pamela. He does not push Pamela for no reason and really just bullying her, and you must give birth, you must bear children. He allows Pamela her space for her to decide, when do we want to have children? Do we need to adopt? Can we, he didn't even push that. And so he's depicted as a very caring person, and a very someone who is able to just social skills are okay despite him being temperamental. And of course, finally, even in his discussion at the Path Alpha, the summit, He's funny because he's able to carry himself in a way, a very intelligent way. He's able to do both path alpha and way omega, and he's able to present his 1 minute at the speaker's microphone is well calculated. He's able to say something that doesn't betray him so much. He's able to sit on the fence very comfortably. He's not for path alpha or way omega, but he's just asking people, can you try to make decisions on which document you want? And that comes with a bit of being wise, a bit of being intelligent, and being knowledgeable, and so on. And so there's so much we can talk about Dr. Falabi. What do you think we have left out? I would want to hear what your thoughts are on the comment section. So let's stop Dr. Falabi at that point. Kindly know there's so much you can talk about. Can we go to Thad Longway? I hope you know his full name, Thaddeus Longway, that is his name, but of course the short form, we call him Mr. Longway. And Mr. Longway is the Director of Special Projects at AGDA. You know what AGDA means? And so he has a very critical role to play. And Mr. Longway has overdone his work. He has done so well, and he's the key force behind the recruitment of the Path Alpha delegates, and he's able to recruit them, appraise them, and tell them what they need to do, and actually even bring them all the way. And of course, I'm sure he is the backing of AGDA, but he has a very major role to play. And number one of the things we can talk about is being very, very wise. You can even see his ability to listen. I'd want to just raise that he's wise. He knows that for him to achieve, he needs to give these people an opportunity to just tell their story. And especially with Comrade Melusi, he gives him all the time. With Tahir, he gives him all the time to talk about their tribe and who they are in Libya and complain and all that. I mean, we are told, I'm imagining he did the same. I'm imagining Pastor Chiamaka had so many bad things to say about his government. And I'm sure Mr. Longway was there to listen and give him that listening ear. And so he can be described as a wise person. He can also be described as a realistic person. Now, the other point we would want to raise is how convincing, how persuading he is. He's very convincing. Can you imagine all these people for him to, and especially you remember the discussion he had with Professor Kimani at the beginning. He was able to actually just bring Professor Kimani, who was very guarded. Professor Kimani didn't want these discussions at all. Actually, for him, he really just wanted this man out of his way. But by the end of the day, even after Professor Kimani being so dismissive, he actually was able to get him to a point where he listened to him. And so that takes persuasion. It takes for you to, just for you to be persevering and deal with these people. I know probably Professor Kimani was difficult. Maybe the others didn't have an issue as such, but we can see that coming out very clearly for him to accomplish all this. Then the other thing is that he is also dependable. He's very dependable. He's one person who actually, when he kept his promises, he made sure that he kept his promises to these 4 travelers. Whatever they had promised, he had been promised to give them. We don't see them complaining. And when he gives you a task, he gives you the space to do that. And you can see how Dr. Falabi is able to do the things that he needs to do very comfortably, and so on. Are there other character traits that you think we are leaving out for Mr. Longway? Of course, there is so much that you can talk about him. I would want to hear what you think about Mr. Longway. Is there another character trait that you'd want us to bring bring on under him? And just like I mentioned, when you look at the comment section, all those words, adjectives that are there, try to pick those words and see where does this fit. What fits in with these characters? Maybe because I think the challenge we're having is not coming up with the description of the character. The challenge is the adjective. And so that is why I'm helping you with those adjectives. So kindly just have a look at them. And so let's go on. Even, okay, Dr. Falabi also, Mr. Longway also, we can also describe him as being patient and so on. Let's look at the third person, that is Fiona Mackenzie. I would want us to have a look at him. And we know him that she's a reporter of the Gambian News. And she's also on loan with the VOA, that is the Voice of America. And she's also born by Gambian parents. parents who died when she was young, and then she was adopted by a Scottish couple, that is the Mackenzie, and then that is why because of that kind of upbringing, it has improved or affected her communication skills, her accent, her exposure, and that's why probably she's standing out and all that. And so we have that girl, Fiona Mackenzie, is the only one girl who is doing us very proud, and we can describe her as many things. Number one, I'll just point a few. Number one is that she's she's very critical. You can see the questions she's asking Dr. Afolabi during the interview. Very, very critical. She's not beating around the bush and so on, and even asks him, why would you be here talking about Way Omega, and you're the one who wrote the text, The Failure of Streets, or you didn't even believe in the book that you wrote, and so on. So we also can say she's critical. She will criticize something. The USA says she's frank, she's straightforward, she's blunt. She's these people who will just ask questions as they are. She will not beat around the bush. Even when dealing with Nick Sentinel, you realize that she's like that. When dealing with Mr. Longway, at some point, she's the same. And so she does not have so much to cover. She's just goes straight to the point. We also can talk about her being persevering, because you realize that she's persistent, you know, and especially on her interviews. For her to even go back to the hotel to look for Dr. Afolabi, even after the nasty experience they had earlier, if some of us who probably would not even have followed up, but she follows up and makes sure that she finds him and gets the information she needs. The same way with Mr. Longway, when she's asked by Nick that we need to find out who is this, what else we don't have, she goes out of her way to look for Mr. Longway. So that is someone who is hardworking. She is persuading. She's persuasive. I mean, she's so many things. She's so many things. And so therefore, I will leave that for you to be able to just pick that and pick those adjectives and just place them on her. Talk about her being impatient and all that, because even you can see even her response to when the silly boss calls. She says, silly boss is calling me, and she wants to, even when Nick is explaining things, she's very impatient. She's wondering, do I need to know all that? Can you go straight to the point that I need to hear, because this point is not necessary for me, and all that. And so she comes out as a very pleasant person, someone who is just straightforward and willing to just do her work. Of course, as we talked about hard work, being hardworking and being aggressive, and it's not someone who is lazy and who is soft and so on. She's not a pushover. She will fight for her space and so on. And even you realize, even when this taxi driver was bribing, you remember the way she was very straightforward. Why would you bribe them? You know, you need to stop. It is wrong for you to be bribing them. And of course, now that brings her character as a bold person, as one who is straightforward, one who is outspoken. She knows what her rights are and not allow them to be violated. What else do you think we can add on Fiona? Is there something else we have left behind? Thank you very much. Have a look at it and add it to the list. You can even add it down there on the comment section. Now, I want us to go to Professor Kimani. I am moving very fast because we can do this all day, and I think we can't even exhaust. It's just a small guide so that you're aware of what it is that we are doing. And because I'll give you the adjectives, kindly just find time to look them up in the dictionary. What are the meanings, and also be able to allocate them to the relevant characters. Professor Kimani, we are told that he's a lecturer in the University of Nairobi, and in the Institute of Development Studies, and we know his story. We know what happened to him and his family, and the loss of his wife, the loss of his daughter, and Path Alpha comes along with Mr. Longway. And he's able to join Path Alpha and become a traveler. And of course, now looking at his characterization, we talk about him being intelligent and being educated and being very wise. We can see that. Remember at the beginning of the text, when we are told that when he came in so much energy, and he was able to recommend quite a number of things that were actually approved and really made a name for himself. He's also very he's revolutionary, he's, you know, he's progressive in his mind. He's able to just get things moving. That is on the same points. We also are also told about his being very bold, and even being very critical, in the sense that he does not understand why the daughter is talking about hiring, and the wife talking about hiring of security. He wants to hold the government accountable, that you are the people who are supposed to be giving us security. Why should I hire someone to do the work that you're supposed to do? I mean, someone who thinks like that is someone who is open-minded, someone who is bold, someone who is able to be analytical and just analyze the situations and even come up with a way forward. And also, we also can describe him as a violent, and especially dealing with newborn Walomu. But anyway, we don't blame him, because with newborn Walomu, how would you have expected different response? And of course, he also decides to be vulgar and call him abusive, call him funny names and so on. But of course, the situation warranted that. But again, it's not an excuse, because he really didn't have to, and so on. So basically, there's so much talk about Professor Kimani. I am hoping that you can find time, just look at him. Remember, he's also very hardworking. He's also very patient. It's been so many years, over 30 years. It's still with the same employer, the University of Nairobi, and being paid peanuts. And I mean, maybe, I don't know, could that be a different characterization? Would you say he's patient, or do you say he's what? Well, how do you describe him? And so on. So can we move on to Comrade Melusi? Who we know who Comrade Melusi is. He's one of the members in the political arena of Zimbabwe who was very active, especially the throwing away of removing the colonial masters from leadership and making sure that the country gets sort of an independent state. And we also told that he worked very closely with the president of at the moment, the ruler at the moment. And he had expectations that the ruler would be able to pay back because of his support and his participation. But of course, that didn't happen. And but in his frustrations and all that, Mr. Longway comes, and he's given an opportunity and to just do something different. And of course, therefore, we are looking at Comrade Melusi and what he does, and what his character traits, which a few words would describe him. Number one, he's patriotic. You can see that he really wanted his country to be better. He's also ambitious. You can see his desire even when he joined, he formed the NIP, the party, the political party, so that he can be able to fight and for the political space for his country. So that is ambition, that is determination. We can say that he's also, I don't know whether, do we say he's greedy because of how he is eating food with Mr. Longway, or he was just hungry. Sometimes I keep thinking that he was not greedy, that on a normal day he probably didn't have to do that. It's only that this particular day, when he's being taken out for lunch, he's very hungry. So I don't know whether we can say he's greedy. Maybe we can say he's uncultured, or he's, I don't know, because even if you're very hungry, there's a better way of doing things. You can't doing good, eating leftovers for your visitor and so on. We also can talk about his being very emotional. Remember when he's describing his situation to Mr. Longway, he actually gets emotional, and as a man, it's very uncomfortable for him when he does that. And even when he talks about the wife dying, and even when he's just before the summit, we are told that he looks at the photo of the wife and tells the wife, I will revenge you tomorrow, and emotionally, without even thinking what he's doing, he decides to attack the president. He wants to attack the president in the full view of 49 heads of state. Who does that? He should have known that is a bad idea. And so we can describe him as emotional and not rational. He's not able to be critical and look at things as they should be. And so there's so much we can discuss this man. and most of them probably, we can talk about him being caring and being very sentimental about the wife. You remember he was when he was looking at the photo, he wants to steal his mind to stick at the 49-year-old woman that he loved and who passed on, that he does not want to add the more years on top, who the 20 years, he does not want to add that. He wants to still have the image of the wife, and really has planned. All those 20 years later, he still want to avenge the death of his wife and so on. And so he is a caring person. He's a loving man, a husband and a father and so on. And so look for other words that you can use to describe him. I want to hope that as we carry on, you will keep checking them up. And I will stop it at that with Comrade Melusi. I want to hope that you will find time to just go through that on your own, because you will need to do that. So I will stop it at that, and hoping that you can keep engaging, and I will see you in the next video where we'll be talking about the other few characters remaining. Kindly join me in part 2 of the character and characterization. Thank you very much for watching, and remember to subscribe, remember to share, remember to like, remember to comment. All those things I will really appreciate. Thank you very much.